Well, joining me now is Mr. Olusoji Apampa, who expatiates more on the anti-corruption drive of the president. Mr. Soji Apampa, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's begin with your view on the president's order to civil servants to henceforth reply queries within 24 hours. That was not the usual before. What do you think of it?
Well, I think that it shows the beginning of a new dispensation. I think the ignoring the audit queries with impunity, some of those queries have been on and unanswered for years. So giving them, first of all, 30 days to deal and clear the backlog of queries, and henceforth 24 hours, means that they will not become chief historians of the Federal Republic, as some civil servants call them. That's how they call the auditors, chief historians. That things have already happened and gone past, nobody's interested, and then you're documenting. You're just a historian.
How did we get here?
If a leader doesn't care about the result and doesn't want to really check, if the purpose of being in government is not about governance, then you really shouldn't care about the instruments of governance for checking whether you're on course or you're not on course, whether things are working as they should or they're not working the way they should. You wouldn't care. So I think it's a good signal. And that 24-hour turnaround means that somebody is ready to read the audit reports and see the responses and take some kind of action. So, and if he doesn't, then everybody's put on notice already. It's like telegraphing an intention. So it's a very good signal to all those who are interested in good governance in Nigeria.
You see, the president did not hide his intention to combat corruption. You know,
yes.
Of course, even in his recent trip to the U.S., he made that point clear. And he mentioned that the government knows the whereabouts of certain stolen funds. You know, do you think he should have given the names of those involved, those culpable of those stolen funds?
There's a Yoruba adage that says that until the sword is in your hand, really, you don't start demanding how your father died. You know, until the power is fully in your hand. It's a difficult adage to translate, but really until you have all your ducks in a row and you really know that you're not going to telegraph your intention and allow some people to escape as a result or allow them to take counter moves, then perhaps you will not immediately announce what you're going to do. There are lots of things that are happening. We keep hearing rumors that people are returning money, although we've been insisting that the government should put a proper process in place so we know who is returning money, how much is being returned, what that money is being applied to, and so on. But it looks like we're not quite there yet. I think there is some maneuvering that is still going on in the background.
So it doesn't make this entire thing transparent, really. If you keep talking about stolen funds, people trying to return stolen funds, or people who have returned stolen funds, and we don't have an idea of who and who is involved, then does it make it transparent?
Right now, it's not transparent. Will it be transparent? You know, it's like if you have a case in a court and the court says, well, for now, it's behind cameras. It doesn't mean the court will not give you the results. And it doesn't mean everything will not be revealed. It just means that the process could be prejudiced if you were to share certain details prematurely. And I think in this case, this is probably what the president is thinking. Of course, I can't speak for him, but this is what some of us believe is going on. And some of it may be announcements to see who moves first, and what money tries to move from where to actually be able to trace it better. You never know. So a lot of it is a political game, I think, a bit of a cat and mouse between those who have stolen money and those who would like to catch them. So we're going to see who blinks first. But I think at the end of the day, if the Nigerian government say they know where the money is, they would know where some money is. After all, the Swiss government has invited us to apply for 303 odd million from the Abacha loot, which is still with them, which they're ready to give back. The American authorities are saying that there's some 6 billion. Some people are saying it's 9.3 billion that is actually missing from the last regime. So I think they're probably not wrong to say that they suspect who's behind it, but they may not have the evidence yet. And if you go to court or you try to get those monies back before you have some kind of evidence in place, then you can really botch the whole thing up. In the end, they must mention those who are involved. They must mention the sums involved. They must mention the schemes that were used to siphon the monies. Otherwise, we have learned nothing.
Exactly.
And we will stop nothing. And the preventive and the deterrence from it, that effect will not be achieved. So they would have to. But to compel them at this stage to reveal what is part of an ongoing process may be a little premature. Yes.
Interesting. Well, you know, for now, a lot of people question his move. Many say that many of these investigations are concentrating only on the last administration, which should not be. Anyway, the president made that clear to Nigerians. But then, many still say that it should go beyond the last administration. That there are lots of stolen funds, accumulated stolen funds, from 1997 and, you know, backwards.
Even from 1960, 1963, there will be stolen funds that you can find. But really usefully, what is the one that is likely not to have spent yet, to have been spent yet, or at least completely spent, that you can recover and that you might be able to trace? You will start from your immediate predecessor. And if you want to go further, nothing stops you from going further. Even if you said, yes, I'm going to probe the immediate past administration, it doesn't mean that you've waived your right to probe any other administration or anybody else. But I think it's only practical to focus on what you're going to do, because if you try to fight everybody at the same time, I don't think you're going to get anywhere. And some who could be allies now and help you in the investigations, you might actually lose their support if you decide that what you want to do is to probe everybody. But then again, if you look at the amounts involved, it would be difficult for anybody to convince us that this last administration didn't steal more than any of the previous administrations before them. So actually starting here means that you can get back, if you can get it back, a good chunk of what has been taken away. And it's still fresh. And the tracks are still fresh. So to trail them, to find it, I don't think it's selective. I know one or two governors have shouted, oh, it's all selective. But even if you said you will probe everybody, you will still start from somewhere. And the first person you start from will say, why me? Why did you have to start with me? Why didn't you start with that next person? So you can always be accused of being selective when it comes to an anti-corruption probe. So I think the president should just ignore what he's hearing and just focus on the job at hand and get the money back. Then we can see who's next.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, we're going to look at this more holistically, but we're still with the Director, Convention on Business Integrity and Anti-Corruption Researcher, Mr. Soji Apampa. Join us again, still more on anti-corruption moves of the President. Stay with us.
The level of corruption in the system have been mind-boggling, especially the figures that have been chunked out on a daily basis. It's no longer in millions. In fact, it's no longer in billions of dollars, but it's now in billions of dollars. And I think it's unacceptable for all of us to continue to live in poverty, whereas few people have helped themselves to take our commonwealth. Labour is going to lead the process of demanding that these resources should be recovered. Those responsible should also be prosecuted. That will serve as a deterrent for having the process clean up and for people, especially at the level of leadership, not going back to do same that have put us in this quagmire.